Guys, it's Sarah and today is Booklist Thursday. This is a video series I do with my friend Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library. And every Thursday we bring you some sort of list or book topic that we feel like talking about for the week. And this week we are going to talk about books that feature either a house or a building or something that seems to come alive on the page. So I was surprised when I sat down to think about what I wanted to talk about in this video, and I was surprised at how quickly I was able to come up with some of these books here. So the first one I want to talk about is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This is one of my favorite books by Riley. I have read most of his. I still have his most recent two that I haven't read yet, but I've read the rest of his backlist, and this one for sure is a highlight. I absolutely loved this book. And this one follows a woman who grew up in kind of the limelight because she spent a little bit of time in this house that her family bought. However, they were run out in the middle of the night by ghosts, or so says her father. Her father has written kind of a tell-all book about their experience in this house and saying, you know, all of this is true, all of this happened. They made millions off of his book sales because of it. However, she doesn't fully buy it, and she was too young to remember anything. So she doesn't know if this was true or not. She doesn't believe in any of it, and she really has a strained relationship with her father because of it. Now, her father passes away and leaves her the house. And so she is going to use her trade, which is house flipping. She's going to go to this house. She's going to flip it. She's going to sell it. She wants it out of her life completely. But of course, she's going to get there. She's going to start working on the house and things are going to start happening. And she's going to start questioning everything she ever thought she knew. It was fantastic because the house definitely has its own personality, and I'm going to leave it at that. In the same vein as kind of a house goes, we have How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Now, this is his newest release. I have not read this one yet, but literally haunted house is in the title, so this house has a big aspect in this book, and I believe that there are also things in the house that have a life of their own, if you will. So it's not just the house, it's also the things that are in the house and all this stuff. But the big tagline for this one is, how do you sell a house that doesn't want to be sold? And we're following a woman who is dealing with her childhood home being left to her and having to deal with what's in the house. Things are starting to happen. She's dealing with her brother as well, who she's estranged from, but he has a big stake in the house as well. And so they're trying to work together through a strained relationship to figure out what's the best for the house and what's going to work out the best. All the while, this house is giving them a lot of grief and does not want to be sold, and it's making that very much known. So I am very much looking forward to this one. It's one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I'm very excited to give it a read. Another one that I read last year is Mexican Gothic. This is by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This one follows a woman who is living in Mexico, and she is traveling to this big estate to check in on her cousin who has married this man pretty quickly. It's a little bit mysterious. No one really knows him. No one really trusts him. So she is kind of tasked by her father to go to this estate, spend some time with her cousin because she misses her, but really she's like checking to make sure she's okay. Like, is everything okay? While she's there, she experiences some really strange things on the estate along with the people who are living on the estate. It's not just her cousin's husband, it's other people who live there as well, who have such a huge attachment to this place. And you definitely see why, and you definitely see how it affects her as well. And that's all I'm going to say. It gets real weird. The next one I want to talk about is Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. So this is the first book in the Morgan Crow series. It's a middle grade fantasy series. And this one definitely has a magic, it's a whole magic world, right? So this girl Morgan is traveling to this place called Nevermore that she had never heard of before. And she is trying to make a life there. She's getting into the school. She's learning how to use magic. She's learning her potential, all that kind of stuff for like middle grade fantasy, right? But she is living in this hotel, and the hotel definitely has a life of its own. It changes a lot. A little, I would say similar to Hogwarts, but not quite. Like, things can move around definitely, but the decorations change all on their own and it's a little bit moody. You don't necessarily have control over what the decorations are going to look like. So she has her own room, but the room could change based on how the room feels versus how she feels. So it was really cool to kind of see the things changing, in the scenes, and, she'll go to bed with her room looking one way and then wake up and it looks a completely different way. So it was just kind of cool that way. So the hotel in Nevermore definitely has a life of its own. Speaking of hotels, let's talk about The Shining last by Stephen King. The Shining. This is one I have not read. I have seen one of the television show adaptations, and that scarred me for sure. I watched it at a sleepover when I was in high school and scared the bejesus out of me. I can tell you that for sure. I still remember scenes from that show. Oh, it was creepy. But this one definitely has a hotel that has a life of its own and makes it very well known. And you see what happens to this family as they're in this hotel and how it really affects them and almost takes over their psyches, and what it does and what it puts them through, and basically takes control of their entire lives. And that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, guys, those are some books that have some sort of house or hotel or building or something that has a life of its own and almost is its own character in some of the books that I've read. And I love that as an aspect in a book for sure. So make sure you go check out Lindsay and see what books she's talking about today that have houses or hotels or some sort of building, that takes on a life. And we will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.